The moral principles to which you have been introduced, non-maleficence, beneficence, and autonomy, are highly relevant to the difficult decisions that people face about what is often called end-of-life medical care, or medical care in the face of a devastating and potentially terminal illness. Think of Sarah Monopoly's situation from the article Letting Go by Atul Gawande. While she was pregnant with her first child, she was diagnosed with an inoperable lung cancer that had already metastasized beyond the lung where it originated to the lining of her abdominal cavity and to the lymph nodes there. She was offered the possibility of a chemotherapy. Her oncologist said that 85% of patients responded positively to that chemotherapy, and some of that 85% had positive long-term benefits. Gawande says that people with her diagnosis had a median expectation of 1 year life expectancy. So I'm assuming that the chemotherapy offered her some significant promise of life extension, and even a small but significant possibility of life extension beyond the 1 year median for people with her diagnosis. Let's think first about non-maleficence, the idea that harming people is seriously morally problematic. The chemotherapy will be harmful to Sarah Monopoly. It will cause significant side effects. Gawande mentions rash and devastating tiredness. We saw in the film Wit that often chemotherapy includes incredible nausea. Surely the principle of non-maleficence means that Sarah Monopoly and her team should take very seriously the harmful effects of that chemotherapy. And they need to think about all the tools they have to mitigate that harm, to make it as minimally harmful as possible. Of course, the principle of beneficence, the idea that we have an obligation to make people better off, is relevant here. The chemotherapy is being considered precisely because it is thought to have some possible significant benefit to Sarah Monopoly. It cannot cure her cancer, it cannot put her into complete remission, but it could delay the growth enough to extend her life. And extending her life is surely a significant benefit. It raises the question, as does every such potential therapy, is what is the balance of benefits and burdens, or benefits and harms, benefits and risks here? Is the quality of her life such, and will the quality of her life with this chemotherapy be such, that extending her life for whatever period of time is indeed a profound benefit to her? Autonomy is relevant here in a number of ways. First and foremost, so long as Sarah Monopoly is capable of making medical decisions, that is to say, she has what is called decisional capacity, the decision about whether to try the chemotherapy or not is hers to make, under a very powerful assumption. That is, that her healthcare team has provided to her the information she needs to make an autonomous decision, and that she understands that information. It's not clear that that has happened in this case. It's not clear that her team provided her accurate and honest information about what her prospects were with this chemotherapy and with alternatives. Maybe most significantly, the alternative of simply palliative care that would address her pain and suffering as she died, but not impose upon her the risks associated with the chemotherapy. But assuming she has that information, and her healthcare team has an obligation to provide her that information, the decision about what to do is hers to make. That's an implication of the principle of autonomy.